This video will be about the nature of the beginning of Qigong and maybe the nature of Qigong practice as well as I see it. So, right in the beginning, I must just say, obviously, this is my opinion, and it doesn't matter how suggestive I talk about. I also believe that there is many other approaches to Qigong nowadays, and this is just a presentation of how I see it. So actually, for those who decide to join our school or study with us, we'll have a better understanding or a more clarified vision. What is the approach? So, yeah, it's a really big materia. Just start to talk about Qigong is really need to narrow the mind down. If nothing else, if we have a quick look at the internet, there is a lot of information on Qigong in general and the many different like way of practicing Qigong. Is you just look up the YouTube and see so many different kind of practices and all sorts of things. Where I come from and where I was lucky to study from, the school is a Neigong school. So whatever I will tell now is just understanding throughout the work with this school. So I never studied anywhere else really, and I see that the material itself is, if not one lifetime, but for sure one lifetime long, just giving you material for almost infinite hours of practice. So deep, but so consequential as well. What I mean is, in the last 10 years, I dedicated all my time actually to seek and understand Qigong and do nothing else, just practice almost all day, meanwhile maintaining, of course, life and other things. But this is how much time actually is sacrificed for this amazing art. So obviously I'm biased, and obviously I can just talk about these experiences. So what I see is when people meet Qigong, obviously they have images, like a lot of image concepts, or just basically imagination, and that is really natural that we use our imagination in the beginning if we don't have actual knowledge or experience of certain things. That is something could be highlighted because after a while it is wise to drop these images when we practice enough to gain some experiment and then rely on it. Then actually we can sort out those images that we had in the beginning. What I mean is, I see quite a few beginners becoming disappointed when they don't meet the images in reality, which is, I think, cool, because all you need to do is just understand, oh, wait a minute, actually, just to begin with, I had a false idea. So how do we study something that we don't know? We sometimes tend to replace it with imagination. So just imagining what we should achieve is not the same thing as understanding what we should achieve. So the nature of Qigong in the beginning for me was to actually meet the requirements. And maybe I was lucky enough that I could give up all of my imaginations, or when I met the reality, actually I was having enough experience to accept that, oh, wait a minute, what I imagined, the big fireworks or anything, is just not true. And for this reason, we just need to comprehend that our nature and how we use our mind and how we fabric concepts about things just to feel safe, sometimes it's just a hurdle. and blocks us to truly study Qigong. So just go back to the nature of Qigong practice. For me is it's a long-term thing, first and foremost. It's a long-term thing. I'm doing this for 10 years now, and probably I'm a pretty slow learner, but there is a truth to it. Just to lay down solid foundations, you need a lot of time. And that's another trap. A lot of people get frustrated when they don't receive the results they are desiring. And that's another thing that maybe we could realize, that we should step back from arrogance or from our stubborn concepts. What does it mean to actually gain results? My experience is that we gain results even when we are not really aware of it. The milestones that is described for us in Neigong path is pretty clear, and they just helpful guidance for navigation. So where you are, but all the other noise actually beside those things are not so important. So more important is, I think, so how much we are willing to give up our concepts and images and ideas for reality of Qigong practice. So I'm not talking about anything big, like a big reality, like capital R, sorry. Just meaning reality of the practice is just to meet it, like really meet practice. If we imagine something or clinging to our concepts, then actually there's a wall between us and the practice. And if nothing else, that would be my advice in the beginning. Whoever wants to truly understand the nature of Qigong practice. Obviously, the more complicated parts describing nature will be unfolded throughout the practice, and then the many years of practice, and then the teachings and the theories. And recently, I don't really know any better source than the Internal Arts Academy. Very likely, if I don't forget, I will put it in the description part. So actually, you can just sign up, and then voila, you have a vast amount of knowledge online, just laid out in front of you, step by step, leading very far away into Neigong and Qigong practice. But it is really cool to have this big and vast amount of knowledge. But as well as we should also understand that our attitude needs to be changed. And as much as I see also myself and then people around me, or those practitioners who are practicing for 20, 30 years, at least in my country, who I met, they also should need to change their attitude and drop concepts they owned before, because things are transforming and things are changing pretty fast, and very likely because of the demand of the actual time. So yeah, it is not easy to put it into words, also diplomatically, and also hopefully useful for anybody listening to this. But you can save yourself a lot of stress and a lot of frustration, maybe, if you understand, oh, wait a minute, that actually what was presented before, maybe in the 90s and maybe the early 20s, that is not, it wasn't really true, maybe, or certain aspects of it need to be changed to be able to meet the reality of the practice. And again, maybe it is just me who was too slow in this internal art, but calculating certain things in years is not a big mistake, just to say that. So instead of just being stressed that I don't gain as fast as I can have my McDonald's burger in a drive-in. It's just cool to slow down. It is okay to slow down and change the mindset, because maybe that is not the best approach that we gained throughout our life and throughout education and throughout the system out there, which is pretty fast now. So yeah, maybe there are talents and maybe there are really sped up processes, and we can have and see examples. But talking averagely, um, yeah, it's just much more calm, much more fun if you slow down and take your time to understand the nature of Qigong practice, which actually involves our physical body and the energetic, like the Qi and all sorts of energetic centers, and then also the mental qualities and conditions. And if you just put these together and understand that if you want to practice Qigong, you need to transform these, and not just transform them, but transform them with stability, or stabilize this transformation. That is actually not a short process. Yeah, that's it. Maybe we will see. If you have questions or any comments, just feel free to send us. And then, if this video was useful at all, and then I'm happy to produce more. I try to learn from questions, feedbacks, and whatever see, and through my process and also through others' processes. So thank you.